to our latest series, formerly known as SSB Pit Mob, where we dive into the world of backyard barbecue titans, those everyday heroes who turn their backyards into sizzling arenas of flavor and fun. We're not talking about celebrity chefs or culinary wizards here. We're shining the spotlight on regular folks, your neighbors, friends, maybe even you, who have mastered the art of grilling and smoking right in their own backyards. In this series, we'll chat with some amazing everyday guys and gals who bring passion, creativity, and a whole lot of heart to the barbecue game. Whether they're flipping burgers for a weekend gathering, slow cooking ribs for the family, or experimenting with the latest grilling gadgets, these backyard barbecue enthusiasts have stories that are rich as their secret rib rubs. So grab a cold drink, settle into your favorite chair, and get ready to hear about those moments that make barbecue more than just a meal. Like laughter shared over a smoky grill, the triumph of nailing that perfect brisket, and the joy of creating unforgettable memories with friends and family. Trust us, you'll leave inspired to fire up your grill and maybe even try out a few of their tips and tricks along the way. So let's smoke on. All right, here we go, Steve. All right. Welcome back to the Super Smoke Bros podcast, episode number 10. And once again, we have a privilege of the Super Smoke Bros Pit Mob segment, in which we talk to everyday guys and gals that are becoming titans of the backyard barbecue. And just their story, and that's the reason we started this podcast, was to just get everyone's story about barbecue and their journey, because everyone's journey is different and it's all exciting and always things to learn from too as well. So today's guest is a gentleman from Manitowoc, Wisconsin, not too far from me, Steve Monka. And he is a member of the group Smoking Barbecue, and that's how we got connected. And we're super excited to have you on, especially so close. We have to do some kind of collab and maybe do a smoke together and then go live and things like that. That'd be a lot of fun. And we're close to, so we can pick each other's brain and help each other out, which is why I think I'm most excited. So, Steve, welcome and thank you for taking time to join us and share your story of your barbecue journey.
Oh, thanks for having me,
Yeah.
Chris. I started, I don't know, in probably around the year 2000. Um, Getting into the smoking aspects. I was on a gas grill and a brand new gas grill, and I just really didn't like the way the meat came off of their grill. And I always been a griller, so using fire pit mostly, and then I got a offset, and then I started, practicing and playing and playing around. Mostly with stuff like um, beef jerky.
Mhm.
Uh, that's the biggest reason why I like beef jerky. I wanted to make jerky and not have to pay the cost that the store charges you.
Oh, yeah, no
And
kidding.
um, then I made for parties. I would make these the jalapeno poppers, and that just everybody. I was kind of new around here, so it kind of went over. And then and I started getting into the meats aspect, and got a Weber, and then I got a ribolator so I can do 4 racks of ribs on my Weber. It,
Nice.
it it's a rotisserie. It's got 4 trays, and you can put 4 racks of ribs on a tray, one on each tray, and it rotates while it smokes. So
Oh,
it's pretty cool. I'll send a video or something sometime
yeah,
that you can share with other people. It's pretty awesome. I mean, so simple and yet it works so great.
hmm
Um, then I got to the pellet grills, and so I got kind of a little bit of everything. I got a pellet grill, I got the fire pit, I got uh offset, and I got another grill, and then I got a cold smokehouse that I
Oh, wow.
built by hand because I really want to do a lot of jerky at one time, for the
hmm
cost of the charcoal or whatever, just to do a 2 or 3 pound chunk of meat. I could do I could I could triple that now.
Wow.
So
Holy cow. Wow. Yeah, that's Steve, man, you got quite the arsenal, and that's one of my questions coming up here. But kind of that's I was my wife always gives me a hard time because you look back, look out in the yard and I have an offset that my students built me. I'm a high school teacher, and then I have, the Smoky Mountain, and I have the pellet grill, and I have a gas grill. So I got all these things out there. And it sounds like you and I are cut from the same cloth here and very similar. But I do not have a homemade built cold smokehouse, which I'm extremely jealous of, man. Extremely. I have to come and check that out.
I'm sure my wife would give it to you for free.
So it sounds like our wives are on the same page too.
Yeah, she says something's got to go here. Something's got to
Yeah,
go.
I know. I'm clearing out a part of my yard now that I'm just pouring my own slab and putting everything there, and eventually, hopefully, have a little smokehouse or smoke shack, I
That's
should say. So,
yeah. One of your questions, I was going to bring that up. That that's a good idea. That for I don't have it. I just got a back deck and a backyard, and I just like being outside. So that's but if you're correct me if I'm wrong, but each one has a specific that they're you kind
yeah,
of need all of them, because
yeah, hmm
like the jerky is more controlled on the pit boss uh pellet grill because of the lower temperature control is
hmm
phenomenal on there.
yeah,
So that's good for jerky and like for smoking salmon and stuff like that. And then you got your offset for doing the pork butts and briskets and
yeah. No, you're
big.
right. They all have their own purpose, and they all like I always think they always have their pros and cons to each one. And it's kind of
Correct.
what pick your poison, what you want to do. If you and to me, it's like, do I have the time to do it? Do I have the time to sit for 12 hours at the offset and make it cause so much better bark and smoke flavor? But do you have that time? That's a big thing.
Right, right, right.
That's
Time is part of barbecuing is not worrying about time. And
yep.
they did, and so many questions are, well, how long does it take? And I think you got to get that out of your head that how long it's going to take. I'm going to take the time to do it. You
Yeah,
know,
no, you're right, Steve. I always say barbecue has no time. It gets done when it
right?
wants to.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Just use your probe.
Yep, exactly. That'll tell you. So Steve, cruising to our next question here. You may have said it already. I'm kind of getting the hint from your first question on your journey, but do you have a favorite thing to barbecue or smoke?
Yeah, it's probably jerky, beef jerky. I like to do. I've been doing this quite a bit lately. Is these bologna and hot dog burnt ends
Hmm.
because of the cost. I got two packages of hot dogs for $4.
Yep.
You know, and that makes a lot of. I could feed that. You bring that to a party, and it's the first thing gone.
Hmm.
You know, so it's just cheap, simple, easy to do for a party.
Hmm.
But jerky is kind of what got me started, and it's I like to chew. I still got good teeth yet, so I can still chew on it. Um, I don't. I do slices. I don't do ground meat. Uh, and but I like I'll do chicken breasts, and I'll do. Uh, I had a heart attack a few years ago, so I do a lot of chicken now.
Hmm.
Um, More so than beef and pork or pork. Pork loins. I'll do a lot of them because they're kind of not as fatty as well.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Um,
you're very versatile with the things you smoke.
yeah, I like the. I'm a gadget guy, right?
Yeah, yeah, so
So
am I.
so I got the sous vide. That's another thing that might come up later that might help people. That
Mhm.
that I use and I just bought my wife talked me into getting that Ninja Smokefire Pro XL that grill.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I've seen a lot of videos on those.
So I posted one on our I've been posted on our meat
Yes, you
smoking
have.
site
Yeah, I was checking it out. Yes.
and yesterday we were doing practicing with the air fryer portion of it.
Uh-huh. Oh,
Or
nice.
this weekend we were doing the air fryer, and we did the chicken wings, and they turned out fantastic. I mean, it was just a nice bite through skin. I didn't have to let the wings hang out overnight in the refrigerator or
Mhm.
dry,
Yep.
like they said, so.
Oh,
And
that's
they kind of almost look like they were deep fried.
oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen I'll have to go check that video out again. Yeah, I've seen so many great things come off of that from the stuff, and so it's definitely I'm sure it sounds like it's very convenient too.
Yeah, it's easy. It's easy cleanup. It's got a tray that just cleans up, or a wire basket for air frying. The first set of wings I smoked and air fried at the same time.
Nice.
That's kind of neat. You know,
Yeah, that is.
I the second batch was her batch, and that was the flats. And I didn't do smoke, but they kind of still carried on some of the smoke flavor.
Okay. Oh, that's
But
oof.
yeah, it was took 10, 8, 8, 16, about 16 minutes to do hers, 12 flats.
Wow. That's not bad.
No, and it was 20 minutes for my drummies.
Nice. Nice.
So
That's really it is convenience. Wow, that's really cool. And especially like
yeah,
you said, to get the flavor and get the tenderness and almost like a fried one. That's
I
amazing.
yeah, I did a brisket a couple weeks ago, and the smoke flavor on that brisket, and it only was only on there for like uh I think 4.5 hours, 5 hours. It's just a flat, just a little 3 pound flat.
Hmm.
It's dry. It's not there. Apparently there wasn't enough connective tissue in there or something like that. But
Yeah.
it's real tender. Fall apart. Bend test, the pull test is all right there, but it's still dry. It's dry piece of meat. So I don't know uh if the cook too fast, too hot, too fast.
Hmm.
I was reading up on some of that article on that, and they said, yeah, if you bring your temperature up too fast on a brisket, it'll get tough. So
Hmm.
that's something I'm gonna have to work on.
Yeah, brisket, they call it the king of barbecue. It's a tough one. I've messed a lot of brisket up in my life, Steve.
Yeah,
And, yeah, it's
I
cost me a few
actually
dollars.
I did two of them, one for my buddy and one for a gal at work, and they turned out fantastic. Apparently, I don't know. I didn't have any,
Hmm.
which is but they wanted me to do it for them, so I did it for them. They bought the meat, and I took it home and
Nice.
smoked it up, and it turned out. So it's like I could do it.
Yeah. I love doing it. It's my personal favorite thing to do is brisket now. And I have it dialed in. I'm going up I'm from Upper Michigan, was born and raised, and my buddy asked me to come and help him do brisket this weekend. So I'm heading up there to do one. I love doing brisket, but I've learned from my mistakes. So moving on here, Steve, on number three. Can you recall a time when something you had planned just didn't turn out right on that smoker?
Absolutely. I threw away. I threw away a batch of beef jerky. I threw away two chunks of ground chuck steak or a chuck roast. I tried
Mhm.
making chuck, poor man burned ends. Threw two of
Mhm.
them away because if I just didn't pay attention, I think the first time I had a flare up or a heat flare up and they got burnt, dried, burnt out. The second time, they were tough.
Mhm.
The jerky, it was just I don't know, it was a bad marinade or something like that. Taste was off, and the pieces were kind of funky looking. So I just threw them. We didn't want to, we didn't know if it was bad meat or what. We just threw them out. I'm sure there's other things I made that I threw out. It happens. It's just you know,
Yeah,
not every piece of meat is the same.
that is true, and that's why we had the founder of the group, Smoking Barbecue, Tony, I had on in a previous episode, and he has said you have to just take your time with everything. Take your time with everything, cause and
Yeah.
that's what he can. And you still may mess it up. And I'm like, yeah, you're spot. I remember I threw away a tri-tip. I was so excited to do a tri-tip. Went to the Kohler Woodwake Market, grabbed a tri-tip here, and I just ruined it.
Yeah.
Too fast, you know. And so
Oh
I
yeah.
there's
Well,
no.
yeah. The first time I think I did a pork loin, I thought, yeah, you got to cook, pork loin. You got to cook that pork. You got to cook that for a long time. Well, you know what happens to a pork loin when you get over 145 degrees, right?
Oh yeah, your eyes out.
Yep.
Oh
Yep.
yeah. Yep. So
Yeah.
moving on here, Steve. You talked about, I mean, you have uh, the arsenal of smokers, but do you have one that's your absolute favorite? It's my go-to.
Yeah, probably my Weber.
Hmm.
The versatility of it. I got the Ribolator. I just bought a basket for it that will you put chicken wings in there or vegetables or whatever, and you can put it on your rotisserie and it rotates while
Nice.
um or you build your snake method fire and then throw something in the middle of the grate and let it smoke for 250. It holds temperature at 250 when you do the snake method for hours.
Hmm.
um I like the ease of use with my pellet grill for like when I if I sous vide my chicken breasts, and I'll take them out of the sous vide and I'll throw them in an ice bath, and then I'll throw them on the smoker and I'll smoke them till they get up to like 120 degrees and put some smoke on them after they're already cooked, so they're tender and juicy, and then now I put the smoke flavor on it after.
Hmm.
That's that's kind of what but yeah, my pellet grill I use the most just because of the ease of use. Um, when I was doing my jerky on my offset, a lot of people were complaining that it was too smoky.
Okay.
So, and then that was one of the reasons why I wanted to get the pellet grill to see if that would. I heard a lot of, people saying, well, you're not going to get the smoke that a regular fire would get. Well, that's what I wanted
Hmm.
because smoke should be a enhancement, not a flavor, right? I
No, I
guess,
100%
or
agree with you. And I had this conversation with a lot of people. Like the pellet, some people may knock on it and say it's the easy bake smoke or whatever.
yeah,
But like for my wife and my three daughters, it's just like you said it so well, Steve. It's an enhancement. And it's just that I use a fruit wood whenever anything that I smoke with that I know they're going to eat because it's just not too intense and it's just a
right,
nice little flavor. You're a spot. That's a great way to put it.
right, yeah. I use cherry predominantly in my pellet grill because I like the flavor that cherry puts out and
Hmm.
the color. It gives you that nice amber color to
Yep.
food, like fish and my chicken and stuff like that. So
Yeah. No, I'm mostly cherry. I throw some apple in there, but I've been mixing in a small amount of the Royal Oak charcoal pellets too in it, and
okay,
uh, and so I've been getting it. Just been giving that a little bit of charcoal, not too much, but just
okay.
enough where it's
I'm
like,
gonna have to
oh, I like this.
I'm gonna have to try those.
Yeah. So yeah, that's something I found just happened. I grabbed it. I'm like, we'll give it a whirl, and so
Yeah,
I mostly would, but I just mix some of those in there as well, and
yeah,
maybe 30% of it is the charcoal, but just gives it enough, you know. But it's funny, a lot of these, like we interviewed Misty, the Seattle butcher's wife, who was like a influencer smoker, and she went exactly like you did, Steve. She went back to the Weber kettle. She loves it. She has
yeah,
like the top of the line, like Yoder, $3,000, $4,000 pellet smokers and stuff like that. But she's like, that's my favorite when I have the time. And you said it right too. It's like if you have the time, the convenience.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So moving on here, let's see what Steve, and you have a wealth of knowledge, and that's evident just from the little bit I've been able to talk to you so far. But do you have any advice that you could give our listeners that you wish you would have known when you started off barbecuing way back when?
Time. Don't worry about it. Throw it out the window.
Yeah.
Prepare for the long haul because it's when you're gonna if you're gonna try rushing it, you're gonna fail. You're gonna blow it up and um use a thermometer, cook the temperature, don't or probe tender.
Hmm.
Mostly probe tender. I use temperature as a guide. Okay, I'm getting there. Now
Hmm.
I start poking it. How does it feel? Like especially for your beef cuts and like pork butts and stuff like that. Um, but
Yeah, that was one of the hardest
I
things for me to do is to go to the probe tender just to learn that. And you said it right. The only way is experience.
yeah, you do the finger on your hand thingy and feel the feel of meat.
Mhm.
You can tell when it's raw because it's real squishy, right?
Yep.
And then if as it starts to firm up, then it's changing temperatures, and then you learn how to feel it. That's I'm kind of working on that. So I want to get that down. But
Yeah.
you watch some of them, like Aaron Franklin and some other guys. They
Oh,
they
yeah.
know they know just by feeling it. They push their hand on. Okay, this one's done.
Yep. Yeah. It amazes me. And it comes with just experience and practicing that with my briskets. And yeah, but I'm always worried that's not done, and I got to put the probe back in there and see.
Wow, right,
So,
yeah, yeah, right.
yeah.
That's what they're for. Check the
Yeah.
temperature.
Yeah. No, that probe was a game changer. And I didn't, and once just a easy tool, you can buy them anywhere. You don't have to get the expensive ones, although those Bluetooth ones are nice and they have the ambient,
Yeah,
fix the ambient temp too. I don't have one, but
yeah,
eventually I want to get one. So
yeah. I just bought one a couple months ago, and I've been using that. It works pretty decent. I liked it because it gives you the ambient instead of having one sitting out.
yep.
Like if it's raining or something, now you got to worry about covering your unit and stuff like that.
Yeah. So that's
Um,
my next purchase, I think. So
but yeah, just don't say, well, I got to have it done by this time. I did two pork butts for a party. They were both within a point two of a pound. One was 9.8, the other one was 9.6. And one of those pork butts took an hour and a half longer than the other one. And I kept rotating them.
Mhm.
Every hour I'd move them to the side, then I would turn them around, then I'd move them to give them different sides. So I had them moving around on my grill. I did it on my this was on my pellet grill at the time. And yeah, one was done in like 9 hours and the other one took 10 and a half. It was amazing that two cuts of meat the same size was that much different than time.
That is amazing. That's yeah, you just never know. That's why you just gotta be patient with it. And like you said, you just never know.
Right,
That's
right.
crazy. Yeah, that's good. That's a good story. And that especially we have a lot of listeners that, are just like, me. That's like only been into 5, 6 years maybe. And it's good for them to hear that experience that you had. That same cut of meat, 0.1 pounds difference, and one was an hour and a half longer. It's just meat,
Yeah, that just shows you the difference in meats. Yeah, yeah, right.
Um, I think let's see, you talked about the pen with the but I don't know, you might have another one because you said you're a gadget guy, but go our next question, you mentioned a few things here, Steve, but is there a favorite tool or item that you would recommend for our listeners besides I know you talked about the probe.
Yeah, definitely the meat probe
Mhm.
or the temperature probe. And
Yeah.
then I think a sous vide, a guy should look into it because you can make I had a patch of beef jerky. I I think it was a rump roast I used, and after it was done, but you I couldn't even cut it with a knife. It was so tough.
Oh, wow.
So I took it and I threw it in my sous vide overnight for 24 hours or
Hmm.
20 hours or something like that. That was the best beef jerky piece of beef jerky I ever made.
Wow.
It tenderized it up just like that, just for sitting that long. Um,
No, Steve,
some,
would you mind explaining to our listeners, like some of them might not know what a sous vide is. Do you mind explaining that process?
sure, you take a let's go with a pork loin. You put it in a vacuum seal bag or a freezer bag, and throw your seasonings in there, and you seal the bag, and you got to get the air out of the bag through either vacuum seal it or use water submersion, where you stick it in the water and then it takes the air out of the bag. And you throw this in this tub of water with a water circulator. It's a water temperature circulator, and it circulates the water at a specific temperature. It's a steady temperature. So you can do chicken breasts at 145 degrees for an hour and a half. You don't have to do the 165. You can do 145 degrees for an hour and a half, and that chicken is pasteurized so that it's done, and it's
Wow.
still pink in the middle. Then I'll take it and I'll throw it on my grill and burn it up, or throw it in an ice bath, let it cool down, then throw it back on the smoker and add some smoke to it. Or
Hmm.
you can smoke before and throw it in after. Either way,
Hmm.
both ways work. You know, if you would worry that way, you don't overcook that. And chicken breasts, they're hard, they're fussy.
They are very fussy. Yes.
Pork loins do the same thing. I just did one the other day. I sous vide it for um, 4 hours, I think, from frozen. It was solid frozen. I put it in, I vacuum sealed it, threw some seasonings in it. 4 hours later, I took the pork loin out and we threw them on the wood fire, the grill, and grilled it for, I don't know, it was half an hour. And I had a nice smoky pork loin or tenderloin,
Nice.
the pork tenderloins.
Yeah.
But
That's yeah. Sorry,
that's
I
what's
cut you off, Steve. I didn't mean to.
yeah, it's I there are all kinds. If you want to Google it, it's spelled
Hmm.
SOUSVIDE. It's a French way of cooking or something like that, and it's becoming more and more out there. The many different types. I got the ink bird. I think it was $80, and then a water tub was another 15 or 20. So another $100. I had another toy to play with.
Yeah.
But then again, that Ninja smoke fire, that's becoming a kind of liking that. That might be my new favorite.
That's
My
awesome.
wife's favorite anyway.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm gonna have to look into that. The sous vide, I've been seeing it. I have never done it before, and I've been like, oh, maybe I'm gonna have to get one of those one of these days, and because I've been watching different things and trying to learn about it before I purchased it. So,
Well, sure, because like if you like making pastrami.
mhm.
So then I'll smoke it. I don't know, maybe a couple hours, 3 hours, and then I'll throw it in the sous vide for 24 hours or 30 hours or whatever, and that's so tender. That makes the best Reubens. I, you know, but there, you getting you're getting your smoke on, and I think it helps enhance that smoke when it's vacuum sealed.
I think it does. Yeah.
I think it does. You know, I'm not an expert on it, but um, yeah, that's one of them things that it's a gadget, and they're kind of fussy, with the you're playing with water and bags and stuff like that. But I went through a lot of plastic and not good for the environment, I'm sure. But
Oh, well, so do you have like a go-to temperature that, when I'm going low and slow, I just want to maintain this temp?
yeah, I like to stick at 225 to 250
Hmm.
because that way it's easier to make corrections. I
Hmm.
don't try to, oh, maybe I should up it to 275 or 300. And then now you got more variables into what you're trying to do.
Hmm.
So I try to keep it at, 225, 250 because time is here's where time matters because time tenderizes.
Hmm.
When you're cooking any kind of food, it doesn't matter what it is, the slower you can do it, the more tender it's going to be.
Hmm.
That's yeah, you can do fast and hit it just right, and it might be tender, it might not be. I don't,
Yeah.
you got some of them people that'll do at 300 or 325, and they do the fast cook or whatever, and it turns out for them. That's
Hmm.
why I always said I want to taste a juicy brisket flat
Yeah.
because when I was down in Texas, I had their brisket down there, and it was the same thing. It was dry. It was
Really?
tender, dry. And I make them. I usually just buy the flats just because it's only the two of us. So to me to
Hmm.
buy a 10 or 12 or 15 pound brisket, it's just not, you know.
Yeah.
But so I always and they never sell the point. They always only sell the flats,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
I can do the point. I can get that. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. Oh, yeah. They only sell, yeah. So yeah, once in a while I'll get a big flat and just try that. And yeah, it's tough to, I usually end up injecting it for moisture. You know.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I never thought of that.
Yeah, I like to use the Wagyu beef tallow and,
Okay.
inject it, help get moisture when I do a flat.
Did you buy that? You Wagyu beef tallow? Did you buy that online?
Yeah, I bought it. You can buy it, and you can buy in stores too. Too as well. They do have they have some at Walmart. I usually buy mine off Amazon. I use South Chicago, packing
Okay.
company. I use theirs,
Okay.
and it's like a tub of Crisco. It looks like, but it's
Yeah.
that's really helped me enhance the flavor and keep in the flats.
So you just heat it up a little bit and then inject it, huh?
Yeah, and it's messy, and so be ready because I always say make sure you wear an apron and an old shirt because no matter how careful you are, it's gonna all of a sudden some tallow
It's gonna
gets in a
come back
place where
at
it's
you.
too much and comes right back at you.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So now you kind of mentioned our last question here before we go to the lightning round, Steve. You said you were down in Texas. Is there like a favorite barbecue location you've been to or visited, or is there one that you really want to go to you just haven't got to yet?
Uh, that's actually all of them because I never been out. We don't go. When I was in Texas, that was before I started getting into the smoking thing, and I just tried the brisket because the guy I was with said, "Oh, you got to try the brisket. You got to try the brisket." So
Hmm.
but we don't travel. My wife and I we don't travel. We got a couple pets and a horse, and
Hmm.
we can't really get around.
Yeah.
But there's places I'd probably like to get to. Like I said, I'd like to find a place or somewhere where I can taste the brisket that's juicy.
Yeah.
Besides, and not just the point. I mean, the point that's going to be,
Yeah. Yeah. No, I would definitely recommend that the tallow in it. That's it's helped me tremendously with getting that flat, juicy. And all right, so
yeah.
Steve, we're gonna move on to our last segment, which is I call the sizzle round, kind of like a lightning round, in which I'll kind of just give you a question and the first thing that pops in your mind, and and we'll go through. We have about maybe 7 questions or so, and you already answered the first one, so I'm gonna kind of throw a curveball here at you and go off script a little bit, and see and see what your answer will be. But so our first question in the sizzle round is: do you brine or no brine?
I dry brine.
Okay, yeah, nice, nice. Our next one: do you have a go-to rub that you always use?
I have my own, or I use my go-to if I really want something to taste good is I think it's a Heath Riles competition blend.
Nice, nice, nice. The best side dish that you prepare with your barbecue?
It's a toss up between a homemade baked beans or mac and cheese,
Ooh, both are
smoked
super
mac
good.
and cheese.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh wow.
yeah,
Your
yeah.
fit. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I do my baked beans from dry. I do start to scratch the dry beans.
Ooh,
So
nice.
I like to chew on them.
Yeah.
It's a little better chew.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good tip for our listeners too. Very good tip. Um, favorite barbecue sauce?
Uh, Kinder's sweet heat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a
It's
good
got
one.
a nice smoky flavor to it.
Yep, it does. Yes. Your preferred fuel to smoke with?
My preferred what?
What type of fuel do you like? Do you
Oh, um, oak and cherry.
oak and
Oak wood with cherry chunks.
Oh, good. Yeah, that's good. Good. Now, Steve, some may say this is the most important question. Do you have a favorite beverage that you like to adult or not adult, or that you like to partake with when you're smoking?
Usually I'm in my fisheye Cabernet, but
Nice.
I do like a good bourbon old fashioned once in a while.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I know a lot of the listeners will appreciate that. And our last one, question for the sizzle round, Steve, do you have a favorite music that you listen to while you're smoking meat or station?
Oh yes, it would be our local WQTC because they carry 60s, 70s, and 80s rock.
Oh, nice, nice, awesome, awesome.
Yeah.
So Steve, that wraps up our interview here today. Is there anything else that you'd like to say to our listeners at all, about your smoking experience?
I got one thing. If you ever had a hanger steak, get one. I mean, uh, you'll be buying them from now until hell freezes over. Best cut of meat out there.
Oh, I've never had one. I'm going to take your advice though, and I'll text you some pictures when I do.
Miesfeld's or Micefeld's, I don't know.
Yeah, Meesfields. Yep.
Yep,
Mhm.
I get them from there.
Yeah, that's where I get
Call ahead.
most of my meat from.
Yeah, call. I think you got to call and order them though. I call just because I don't live in Sheboygan. I don't want to make the trip there and find out they don't have them. So then I just call and then, oh, well, we can order you one. I said, okay.
Awesome.
Um,
That's good. Good advice because I
so,
will do that. I'll call and order one.
uh, yeah,
Yeah, that's
it's, it's a cut that they call the butcher's cut because the butchers take them because they're so tender. That's why
mhm.
they're never seen in stores.
Makes sense. That's good. That's good to know. That does make sense. Well, Steve, to wrap up, we always kind of sign off with our interviews, and our motto is we always, no matter what, we smoke on. So if you don't mind, Steve, ending our interview here with a little smoke on, we'll wrap this up.
Hey, let's smoke on, eh?
Yeah.
Everybody, get your smoke on.